Terrell here, and I'm back again with another review for Shin Ultraman during the Fantastic Fest 2022 Film Festival. I am so excited to get to talk about this film, something I've been wanting to see for quite some time now. Finally got the privilege to watch it. I'm gonna get for those Ultraman fans. Here's the review. This is what you've been waiting for. Got a privilege to watch this during the film festival this year, which I'm surprised. A lot, but it's all international films and stuff like that too. Um, but if you're familiar with this, the story of Shin Ultraman. If you're familiar with Ultra Q, where it all started. Tokusatsu. Special effects. Special effects TV show, stuff like that, where they typically use props and giant monsters, Godzilla. And previous, they just did Shin Godzilla. These movies are typically this is a reimagining of the Ultraman series as a film version. Let's just say it's a version of the movie of the show with a bigger budget because that makes a heck of a difference here. So you get Ultraman, who comes down to Earth to help them fight. Their kaiju, their giant monsters, and in the process winds up accidentally killing one of the humans who goes out to protect a child, and he winds up fusing with the human and becoming Ultraman to fight for humanity. A lot of big differences here with this movie because when I went into it, I assumed that I was going to get a lot of the same characters that existed in the television show, and that is not the case here. The SSSPs is still there, but none of the characters that we're familiar with from the original series. Which I thought this was going to be just kind of like a retelling of that story, but they just created new characters. But just wound up pretty much using similar storylines or the same storylines for this movie. One of the big things that I think a lot of people are probably going to have a problem with is the use of the CGI for Ultraman. So you don't really get the guy in the suit for this because this is a movie, so you want to go all out. You want to get a big budget here. So you don't get that. That's one of the things I kind of felt with it. But as I watched it from beginning to end, I was able to say, okay, yeah, this makes a lot more sense to use a CGI version because some of the stuff that Ultraman does is pretty ridiculous in this movie, and it'd be pretty hard to do if you were just doing a suit, stuff like that. I would have liked to have seen a good mix of the two. If it was like that, I could not tell. I could not tell if it was just hey, it was just a guy in a suit or it was just CGI. Well, clearly it was scenes where you could see where it was clearly CGI, stuff like that. Even the kaiju too, they went ahead and decided to use CGI for that for a lot of the monsters and stuff too. Which again, I thought they were going to do a little bit more practical here. Or a lot more suits, suit actors for that stuff like I did in the original. But again, like I said, this is not the TV. It's not TV budget. This is them reimagining pretty much the whole story, through this movie format. And when I seen the title Shin Ultraman, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're trying to get more of a realistic approach to it. Trying to have a modern day Ultraman story, which is pretty much kind of what this is. We see Ultraman in 2022. Cell phones exist. Technology is a lot better than what it was in the 60s. But I would have liked to have seen a lot more of the SSSP and the advancement of the technology now. From when they did the show in the 60s till now. And I feel like that was one of the things that you don't get. You don't get a lot of the you don't really get a lot of the tech that the SSSP uses that you do in the show and stuff like that. This movie is a little bit more reliant on Ultraman kind of doing everything for them, as opposed to the show where SSSP are actually fighting with Ultraman to help him, not just be innocent bystanders, but they actually have weaponry that can help fight these aliens and giant kaiju and stuff like that. And like I said, the movie definitely gives you some new characters. And just like I said, we have Shinji, who is now Ultraman instead of Hayata, who is from the original series. We have Hiriko, who is the buddy of Shinji in this movie, not an original character whatsoever. But like I said, like completely new down the board. If you've never seen Ultraman or whatever, this would probably really be a good introduction to it, because like it's not reliant on any past material or any canonical, whatever from any of the other Ultraman series for you to have to come in here with that knowledge. You can come straight in, watch it, have a good time, and enjoy the movie. Um, like I said, the movie takes a lot of different scene, like I don't want to say scenes, but like a lot of stories from different episodes and mashes it all into kind of one movie, which is kind of where one of my biggest issues with the movie is that the pacing and the story is kind of all over the place. Like, as much as I like the movie, looking at stuff like that really brought me back, because like I was like, okay, where were we? What happened? Okay, this issue is resolved, and then here's something else 5 minutes later. It just never really like closed any of the chapters. Like, they'll have multiple alien fight enemies that they have to fight, but then it's like one to the next. There's no the pacing is just weird for this. Like, if they were setting it up as like, okay, here's an arc, okay, every 30 minutes, kind of like a TV show type thing, that probably would have made more sense. And I think that's kind of what they were trying to do. They wanted to make it feel like a TV movie, and it just didn't work for this, like, at all. Like I said, it was just all over the place. The CGI is what it is. I mean, I'm not expecting them to spend Avengers level of money for this movie. I thought they did a really good job of like explaining a lot of the lore of Ultraman and the beta box and the beta capsule, which is the device that Shinji uses to transform into Ultraman. And I thought they did a really good job of that, because throughout the series they talk about it, but not in as much detail. Like, okay, this is the device that summons Ultraman from an alternate dimension, and he's able to come out, yada yada yada. Like I said, I just wish we would have spent more time on the enemies here. That's kind of one of my biggest flaws of the movie is it's just all over the place. Like, the fights were cool. Seeing Ultraman on screen was cool. I could imagine being in Japan and getting to watch this movie, full blown speakers, everything like that. It was a good time. But like I said, I mean, like, the CGI took me a little bit to get used to. But once it started to kind of move and work, I was like, okay, I can really see this works. The remixes on the songs of the show sound really good, like the Ultraman theme music, the Ultra Q as we come into it, the recap of scenes from the original show. When we originally come into this movie is really, really good, but they do a really good job of redoing that music, doing a modern redoing of that music for this movie. And I think it fits very, very well, especially for this. I'm glad that they, as campy as the movie is, it still takes the Ultraman lore to a level of like seriousness that it needs to stay at. Like, it's not like overly serious to the point like, okay, we don't realize we're watching a special effects or this tokusatsu movie. Like, we're never taken out of the realm of, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, we try to do a Christopher Nolan Batman and Ultraman where we're trying to make this real. No, it everything fits where it's supposed to in this world, and you watch it, and you never get taken out of it. I feel like they really, you could tell the love that was put behind this movie 100%, and the love for Ultraman. Like I said, when it comes not only to the way they did certain things as far as how Ultraman looked, but to the kaiju and the SSSP. I thought they did a really, really good job of that, and showing how the government's kind of reaction to giant monsters and aliens, and everything is like, yo, let's just blow everything up. Let's just fire a nuke. Like, that's like the reaction of every alien movie, like, yo, just fire a nuke at them and we'll see what happens. Clearly it's not going to work, right? Like, it's clearly not going to work, but I'm glad that we get a little bit of that here. Overall, I did love the movie, despite its flaws. Because I can't look past that. It's just certain things that I'm like, all right, if you're going to shoot for a movie, at least have the storyboard tight, and just certain things. I'm like, I wish they would have just kind of fleshed it out. Like one of the enemy stories could have been just one movie. I didn't need 4 or 5 different alien enemies in one movie and then stop and start another thing all in one movie. But of course, like the movie did its job and did a good job of retelling the Ultraman story for new fans, old fans. Some people are probably gonna hate it, but I can tell you, like I said, it's definitely worth the watch, worth your 2 hours, worth the money to go see it. And like I said, just the pacing, biggest thing. I feel like I said like 3 times, but Ultraman looks good. Once you get past those first initial scenes, overall the movie is cool. I really like the characters in this movie, and I wish they would have done more with the SSSP and not have them just as bad characters. Like they just felt useless. Like I'm tired of the military always feeling like the most useless thing in the world. And but of course it's human tech, compared to alien technology that's super light years advanced, thousands of years advanced, that they can't possibly understand or keep up with. So good movie, Shin Ultraman. Check it out if you get the chance. I loved it. I'm probably going to buy it once it comes out on Blu-ray or home release. But like I said, despite those couple things, it's a solid movie. I would definitely watch it again. Check it out. Let me know what you think about. If you guys get a chance to watch this movie, leave your comments below. Check us out for another review. It's been Terrell. See you later.